Hello everyone. Today we're going to start the topic odontogenic cysts. Odontogenic cysts is a very important topic from university theory exam also and viva point of view also. So you need to be very thorough with this topic. Just to help you understand this topic properly, I've created this video. Hope you'll like this and you will study from it and subscribe to my channel and share it. Now, before we begin with odontogenic cysts, I want you to understand what is a cyst. So, a cyst is a pathological cavity. Now, please note it is not any other cavity, it is a pathological cavity. So, the word pathological has to be written. So, it is a pathological cavity having fluid, semi fluid, or gaseous contents and which is not created by the accumulation of pus. This was described by Kramer in 1974. Now, what this actually means is that the contents of the cyst could be fluid, semi fluid, or gaseous, but it should not be by the accumulation of pus. So, pus is a complete no. To this shear added, it is frequently but not always lined by epithelium. So that means that the cyst could be either lined by an epithelium or not lined by an epithelium. When it is lined by an epithelium, it's called a true cyst. When it is not lined by an epithelium, it's called a pseudocyst or a false cyst. Later in the lecture, we will understand what are the different types of pseudocyst. Moving on, now we've understood the definition of cyst. Now we'll understand what are the different types of jaw cyst. So, cyst could be epithelial lined also and non epithelial lined also, like I discussed earlier. So, epithelial lined has odontogenic cysts arising from tooth forming tissues or tooth forming apparatus. Non odontogenic cysts are like developmental or fissural cysts. Now, non epithelial line cyst, example could be mucus extravasation cyst of salivary glands, aneurysmal bone cyst, and solitary bone cyst. So, this is mucus extravasation cyst. There are two types of cysts of salivary glands, mucus extravasation and mucus retention. Here, in the non epithelial line, it would be mucus extravasation cyst of the salivary glands. Now we've understood the different types of jaw cysts, we've understood the definition of cyst. Now we will move on to the elements or the parts of a cyst. It is very important for us to know the different parts of a cyst. Why? Because once we know the different parts, then we'll understand the structure, the histology of the different parts, and then only we can write our answer properly. So, elements of a cyst, it has three parts. The central one is the lumen. Surrounding the lumen is the lining, which is epithelial, and then comes the wall. So, lumen has the contents of the cell, which were fluid, semi fluid, or gaseous contents, but not pus. For example, in the right hand side picture, I have put down the lumen, wherein lumen contains keratin. This is a picture of a particular cyst called odontogenic keratocyst, and the lumen, the content here is keratin. Then, close to the lumen, surrounding it is the lining, which is epithelial in origin. Now, the lining of the cyst can vary depending on the type of cyst. For example, since this is odontogenic keratocyst, we see a keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. Then below the lining comes the wall, which is connective tissue in origin. So these were the elements of a cyst. Now, moving on, we need to understand why odontogenic cysts are called odontogenic cysts. So, what are odontogenic cysts? So, the cysts which arise from the tooth forming apparatus or the tooth forming tissues are known as odontogenic cysts. Now, the next question is How are these cysts formed? So, to understand how these cysts are formed, we will see a few pictures and then I'll explain you how these cysts are actually formed. So, let's have a look at these pictures. In the first picture, it shows us that the tooth germ is hanging from the dental follicle, from the dental lamina. So, dental lamina is actually giving rise to these tooth germs, and they stay there for 5 years, and after that, they get removed from the tooth germ, they get divorced from the tooth germ. So, their remnants, which are called as cell rests of Serrae, they are responsible for the formation of odontogenic cysts. Then the next picture shows us Hertwig's epithelial root sheath, which forms the root of the tooth in during the development of teeth. So when the remnants of Hertwig's root sheath are left, they're called as cell rests of Malassez. Now these also help in the formation of odontogenic cysts. Then there's this another picture which shows us reduced enamel epithelium or reduced dental epithelium. Now, this is also responsible for the formation of odontogenic cyst. We will see how this leads to the formation of odontogenic cyst. Next, after we finish this, we have to move on to the classification of odontogenic cysts. Now, it is very important for us to put all these cysts in a particular category or classify them. So, classifications can be based on various methods. For example, here is a classification by etiology. So, in that, there is developmental and inflammatory. Developmental are those cysts which are a result of something which is not inflammatory. So, it is not the result of an inflammatory reaction, although inflammatory cysts are as a result of inflammation. So, under the developmental cyst fall dentigerous cyst, eruption cyst, odontogenic keratocyst, gingival cyst of the newborn, gingival cyst of the adult, lateral periodontal cyst, calcifying odontogenic cyst, glandular odontogenic cyst. Then in the inflammatory ones, there is periapical cyst, residual cyst, and paradental cyst. Now, this classification was on the basis of etiology. The next classification is by the tissue of origin. So, like I had shown you in the pictures before, derived from rests of Malassez are the cyst, periapical, and residual. The cysts derived from reduced enamel epithelium are dentigerous cyst and eruption cyst. Now, the cysts derived from dental lamina or the rest of Serrae are odontogenic keratocyst, gingival cyst of newborn, gingival cyst of adult, lateral periodontal cyst, glandular odontogenic cyst, unclassified paradental cyst, and calcifying odontogenic cyst. Now, this was all about the classification. Moving on, there is this really important picture. In this picture, it shows us where these cysts could be placed and what are the type of teeth that they are associated with. When you're writing your answers, if you'll put down this picture in your answers, it will be really helpful for you. And this surely impresses the examiner because it makes him understand that you have thorough knowledge of all the cysts. So, starting with the largest cyst here, which you can see is placed at the back of the mandible, this is your odontogenic keratocyst. Now, there is this cyst which is surrounding the crown of the tooth, starting from CEJ, ending to the other side of the CEJ. And this is associated with the impacted third molar. Third molar is one of those teeth which are frequently impacted. So it is associated with a third molar here. And this cyst is actually forming an envelope around the crown of the cyst. crown of the tooth. Now, moving on, there is this other cyst which is associated with, you can see a carious tooth, and the occlusal surface seems to be broken down, probably because of the caries. And at the apex of the root, you can see this one cyst attached, which is called the periapical cyst. Here, there is this another cyst which is associated with a socket of the tooth. The tooth seems to be missing. This cyst is called as residual cyst. Now, there is this cyst which is situated lateral to this tooth, which is called lateral periodontal cyst. Another cyst which looks just like the dentigerous cyst, but in this case, the tooth is erupted from the bone area. It is inside the soft tissue, and again, this cyst is forming an envelope around the crown of the tooth. This is called the eruption cyst. Then there's this other cyst which seems to be placed in the gingiva. So this is called the gingival cyst. So this was all for the introduction of odontogenic cysts. I hope you liked the explanation. I would strongly recommend you to use this way of presentation in your exam papers. These were the basics of odontogenic cysts. The rest of the lectures I will cover different types of cysts. So I would request you to follow it. Thank you.